Well, hello, Jeremy.
Well, hello, Doug. Lovely to see you. And I actually can see you because we have a
Yes.
video feed between us, don't we?
Yes, but it's a secret feed for at least this episode. We'll
Yeah.
see. We'll see what we can do for some future episodes.
Yeah, that'd be great if we can transition it to YouTube and then people get to see us as well. Which
Or at least
you
our
may
guests.
which you may think is a good idea, but you may disagree once it actually happens.
Yeah.
And everybody will then say, no, audio only, please.
yeah.
Last thing we need to see is you guys.
Well, will there always be the audio option too?
Always. Okay, Doug. So, yeah, here we are.
Yeah.
Moving right along with keeping time, season, whatever we're on. What is it, 8, 9? What are we on? Do you know?
I think it's 9.
9. It's amazing, isn't it?
Yeah.
Doing this a long time.
I think it's
All right. So very, very excited to do another podcast with you, Doug.
Now, Jeremy, you did some traveling. We talked about it just before you left, Watches and Wonders. How'd that go? You're back now.
I'm back. So the travel went well. I got there and I came back. That's excellent, isn't it?
That's right.
So it was great. It's a really good show. I do enjoy Geneva. So as we talked about on the last podcast, kind of like we laid out the foundations of how the show works. And there was a separate show called Time to Watches, which is just literally outside of the main PAL Expo where the big show is. And that's where a lot of the small brands are, including our guest today, Pragma Watches. So that's where I met him. And I met quite a few other people there as well. But the show itself was excellent. I thought there were some really standout moments for me. I thought in particular, Gerald Charles really hit it out of the park with their 25th anniversary jumping hour, which is a recreation of a piece that Gerald designed 25 years ago, I think, or thereabouts. The brand was 25 years old. So I'm not sure when the jump hour came out, but shortly after that. And they kind of redefined it. And I'm sure we'll do a podcast in the near future, hopefully with Franco Ziviani, the father to Federico, who's got more stories than you can imagine. He's been in the industry a very long time.
Might have to do a double episode.
A double episode there, yeah. Part 1 and part 2.
Right.
Exactly. The world according to Franco. Lovely, lovely chap. And it also had I want to really reach out and thank Federico and Franco and everybody at Gerald Charles. Hospitality was wonderful. We had a lovely dinner with them and quite a few other American retailers. And it was just so enjoyable. It was just a lovely, lovely evening. And it was genuinely kind of them. It wasn't about ego and putting on a big dinner. It was about creating a family. And I think it really worked. It was very enjoyable. But anyway, the product, more importantly. So the jumping hour is incredible. And you have this silver kind of guilloche going around the edge of the natural stone dial, which is in blue. And then the jumping hour. The technical side of the jumping hour I can talk about on another podcast, but it jumps, boom, precisely at midnight. And it has tremendous amount of power to create that jump. And they achieve something great. But the engraving they do on the perimeter, Doug, and everybody listening, it looks like baguette diamonds, but not in a way that's so flashy that you wouldn't want to wear it, but in a way that it just catches your eye and has this incredibly beautiful look to it. It's astounding. And then they came out with some great new colors for their chronographs, which we've actually pre-sold very nicely along with the jumping hour. The new tennis ball watch is superb. So it's a yellow sport watch inspired by a tennis ball because Federico is mad about tennis and a lot of the tennis players are mad about the brand. So it's kind of a logical next step there. So I thought they did some fabulous work and the brand is really growing. And we're starting to see our collectors asking me about the brand now. So that's really encouraging to see that the brand is taking off. And sometimes it takes a couple of years for it to really enter the consciousness, and it's there. It's an established high-end luxury brand now. Parmigiani, talking about established high-end luxury brands, Parmigiani again had some superb pieces, and probably the most talked about was the perpetual calendar, which they did in the PF Toric case. Beautifully executed, typical Parmigiani style, understated, elegant, but with all the functionality you would expect from Parmigiani. And the other thing which you now come to expect from Parmigiani under Guido is the colors. Wow, just beautiful. So there were 2 versions of the perpetual, 50 pieces of each, limited edition, very, very scarce pieces. So if you do want one, please reach out to me. ASAP. And it may even be too late already, but please reach out to me. We'll see what we can do, or we'll find a way to try and help you. Beautiful pieces. Again, extensions. One of the pieces that really caught my eye, Parmigiani came up with a new 40 millimeter steel chronograph on bracelet. No date. It's like everyone has seen it said, oh my God, no date. It's perfect. Visually perfect. The color of the dial, perfect. It's exquisite. And the size on the wrist, perfect. It's just, if you want one watch, one high-end watch to wear every day for the rest of your life, I could be happy with that one. I really could. It could do it for me.
Yeah, it's funny. I'm a big fan of no date just because I can't read the little date windows anyway. And so, having that clean dial just appeals to me a little more. It
does. And, I think the old way, 20 years ago, you would never dream of putting out a watch without a date. It just wouldn't have happened. Customers, there'd been a revolution. It wouldn't have happened. Customers demanded it. But nowadays, we're all on our cell phone all day long. We're at the computer. It's really not necessary now for that. So a watch is far more, smart brands like Parmigiani are realizing that a luxury watch is about conveying a luxury emotion. It's about something that enables you to kind of glance at your watch almost as a distraction from all the technology around you.
Right.
And Doug, you're Mr. Technology Man over there, Digital Doug, as we used to call you. And you've become quite enamored with mechanical watches. So it really goes to show how much that plays. So moving on from Parmigiani, let's see, Nomos hit it out the park again with their World Timer GMT. And it's in the Club Sport collection. There were 6 limited edition colors. And again, color is a theme here. We're seeing really unique colors.
Now, they did that last year, right? Wasn't there a big thing? Like
31 pieces last
31?
year.
Wow.
Yeah. And I was lucky enough to keep one of them for myself. And I actually wore it in Geneva for a couple of days, along with my Parmigiani, and really enjoyed it. It's a 38 millimeter, which 10 years ago, if you told me I'd be wearing a 38 millimeter for more than 38 seconds, I would have said you were nuts. And I really love it. It's just lovely. The colors are really refreshing. It's a great vibe to it. So colors are very strong again. Anyway, so they came out with the GMT, 6 limited edition pieces, completely sold out. Forget it. Don't even ask. and then there are 2 core dials, which will be the blue and the silver. And those are not limited, but they'll be very limited in production. So just because they're not limited, don't think you want to wait till July to order it, because once the initial allocation is sold out, they told me it'll be something like 8 or 9 months before we get a second round. So we secured as many as we could, but we're starting to run low already. So if you like the idea of that, phenomenal value, jump on it quickly. And beyond that, I did see quite a few other really cool independent artisans. People like Taos have unbelievable craftsmanship. And we've talked about them, of course, on the podcast. We've had them on the podcast as a guest. And that level of artistry is why I go to Geneva beyond everything else, just to please my soul. That does it. It just tickles my soul.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love it. And then speaking of that, then we move on to Renaud Tixier. And of course, we've had the CEO, Michel, on as a guest on the podcast. And that company, even though it's just over a year old now, the final watches are starting to appear on wrists. So I got to see the final product. And believe me, I was blown away with the prototype. I was happy with the prototype. The final product,
even better.
Wow. It makes the prototype look like a throwaway piece. It is that much better. It's incredible. And we haven't really talked about it on the podcast, and I haven't really announced it publicly, but Renaud Tixier were kind enough to do a 10-piece limited edition exclusively for Osterjewelers, based on colors that I kind of wanted to introduce and what I wanted to do, and they were open enough to it. So I got to see the final dial, Doug, our dial,
the
nice. Oster dial, and it is superb, better than I was even hoping for. I can't wait to see it on an actual watch next, which is coming. And so 10-piece edition, there are still a few pieces left unaccounted for, so if you are interested in that, please do reach out to me. And who else, Doug? What other brands we talk about? So we've got, let's go through the list in my case. Oh, okay, Singer Reimagined. So Singer watch the car company, the Singer Reimagined car company, they take older Porsches and reimagine them. That's kind of like the whole crux of it.
Mm-hmm.
So what they've done this year is superb. They took an old Valjoux caliber. I think it's the Valjoux, I forget, is it the 23 or the 93? I think it's the 23, which originally came out in 1919 and was used by brands such as Patek Philippe, etc. Anyway, it's been used a long, long time, going into the 70s, take a few different iterations of the movement. Anyway, they found 100 new old stock, never been used, never been assembled, never been anything other than a bag of parts. And they are using this vintage movement on a limited edition of 100 pieces.
Oh, wow.
And it's a true limited edition because that's how many movements they have.
Right.
So if you want an extra piece and cheat, can you make me number 000? The answer is 0. No, not a chance. There's no movement. So there were 2 dial versions. Both of them were gorgeous. And I remember, it's quite funny. I remember being in the booth with them and I had the black dial on my wrist. And I turned to them. I said, you know what? I don't like the strap at all. I don't like this type of strap. I don't like black dials either. And I really don't like smaller watches. It's about a 38 millimeter. There is nothing I like about this watch, but I love this watch.
Yeah.
It's just the combination. They got it so right. Even though it's all things that normally I would never go for, they got it so right. I would wear that piece so happily.
Yeah.
The strap is simple and elegant, works with the dial. The dial kind of has a modern retro look to it, if you like. It's just perfectly executed and the movement is just stunningly beautiful. So hopefully we'll get Marco back on here so we can talk at length about this movement, because there was a really interesting conversation with Marco about what they have to do to create this watch. And again, limited edition. If anybody's interested in a piece, please reach out to me fairly quickly. I got a few pieces on order. And who else do we have, Doug? Anybody you read about or anything that caught your eye?
No, but what about some of the smaller brands in that other show?
Yeah, so there's a few of them. I don't want to get into too much there, but there's put it this way, there's 2 other podcasts that are coming for sure. Okay. So I don't want to spoil it. But one of them I am going to do a spoiler on is Sartori Billard. So a lot of independent fans will know that name. Armand Billard is the owner of the company, the designer and everything basically. And what a lovely guy. I had no plan to go and meet with them at all. I've always admired the designs, but quite honestly, I always thought their price range was a lot higher. I didn't realize it was actually approachable. So the price range is going to be somewhere, between the 4,000 and 6,000 range USD roughly. So, in and around there. So it's a very approachable brand. And when I saw them, I thought, these are gorgeous. And I didn't know the price. I thought it was higher. So when I heard the price, I'm like, oh my God, that's incredible. So we are carrying them. So we added them as a brand. And in fact, the next episode, if we can coordinate, will be with Armand. So if you have questions, please do submit them. Send them to me, jeremy@osterjewelers.com. And we'll be happy to ask the questions. There you go. That's the next episode.
Yeah, nice.
All right. So should we talk about today's guest?
Right. So I was going to say they were at that smaller show, right? As a kind of a new up and coming brand. No.
Yep.
As a smaller brand, are they doing anything to help kind of break through the market, especially the U.S. market?
Well, the US is tricky, of course, always, because new brands are not that well known here.
Right.
So it takes a little while. And that's one of the reasons we do the podcast, to try and give them that voice in America, because it's a huge market. And to remember, to travel in America, look how huge it is, how vast it is. Whereas in Europe, you can go one city. It's easy.
Right.
Over here, definitely not so. So one of the things that really, Chris, who you'll meet in a moment on the podcast, everybody, lovely guy, really, really kind. When I spoke with him, he really is all about extending sort of the experience of buying a Pragma watch and really wants to welcome the clients. Every client will be special. So if anybody is listening and is interested, and especially after listening to the episode, reach out to me, because Chris has very kindly said that any of my clients who would like to pick up their watch in Switzerland is welcome to fly over, and they will take care of accommodation in the Geneva area for you and buy you a beautiful dinner, of course, and get to know you, because the relationships are very important. And that's what I love about the independents. And of course, you'll get to go to the beautiful atelier, which has this gorgeous view looking out over Lake Geneva. And it's beautiful. You can see the boats out of his window. I mean, it really is lovely. So it will be an absolute treat for a collector to go over there to pick up their own watch and meet Chris in person and see where the watches are made and learn more about it. And I think it'll make it a more special ownership.
Yeah, that'd be awesome.
Yeah, it'd be cool, wouldn't it? All right, so that's really the core and the essence of the independence. It's about that personal relationship, that personal connection. And that's not to say that you don't get something very special from the big brands. You do, of course, but the independents can offer something that most of the bigger brands cannot offer.
Mm-hmm.
So that said, let's get personal. Let's meet Chris.
Yeah.
Let's get him on, shall we?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Well, welcome Christopher Wegener to the Keeping Time podcast. I'm Doug. I'm here with the host, Jeremy. How are you this, evening for you?
Thanks. Really good. I'm fine. Enjoy a nice day of doing watches and doing my passion all day. So I'm quite happy with the day.
How are you, Jeremy?
I'm good, Doug. Thank you very much. Chris, good to see you. And I can see you because I got video chat with you. Sorry, everybody. It's going to be audio, but Chris is a lovely chap who, of course, we just met recently in Geneva, Watches and Wonders. And for those of you following along, the brand is Pragma Watches, Pragma, and they have an excellent website. So go to the website to take a look right now so you have a feel for what we're doing. Also, our website, Osterjewelersdenver, of course. We have a blog page on there. If you scroll down to the bottom, you will see the Keeping Time blog. It'll also be a kind of a banner thing there. And we'll do a little blog with some other pictures and additional info there for you to follow along as well. So, Chris, welcome to the podcast. You're really the kind of the first proper guest of the new season. So we're thrilled to have you on here. Okay. So first question for you before we get into the watches. Why the name Pragma?
First, really thank you for the invitation. I'm really happy to be here, and I'm glad to engage with Pragma. Why Pragma? So when I started the project, of course, with my associate, it was called the Watch Project, and we really try to put a lot of intention and value into the watch, not only making high watchmaking, but we want to put all the philosophy we believe into the watch. And so for us at the end, it was we want to have this pragmatic high luxury watch, and Pragma was just the name that come up. And that was the day that we decided to call it Pragma.
Ah, so pragmatic. Why pragmatic? Why that leading word there?
Because we believe that high watchmaking is not only well-finished piece, luxury material, but it's also the value. And the value we want is to be fully transparent, traceable. We also want to make a watch that is 100% Swiss made. We have nothing against other country that do watch, but I believe as a Swiss, if I can do my watch here fully and all the component in Switzerland, I'm really happy with that. And also one aspect that was interesting for us, if we can achieve the same quality we're looking for using sustainable material, we also do it. So it was a combination of all this aspect that was for us really important to put into the brand and the watch.
Okay, so it really describes the approach to your watchmaking philosophy. And we will get into all of those little elements and details from obviously the transparency and everything else. We'll get into that in a little bit. First, let's talk about you. And also I'd like to get into some of the people involved with your company, the partners, etc. But what is your watchmaking background?
Yes, so I study watchmaking. I started studying watchmaking. I was 15. So in Switzerland, you can really start to do, let's say, apprenticeship really early. So I was looking for something that really exciting me at the time. And when I discover during like a day, discovering day watchmaking at Patek Philippe, I went there for doing 2 days, and definitely after the almost lunchtime, I knew that I want to be a watchmaker. It was really like a direct feeling when I started to do that. So I finished my mandatory school in Switzerland and start to find for an apprenticeship, and so I have the opportunity to study at Rolex. So I've done that for 4 years, and after that, my goal was at this time really to try to have a maximum of experience in the luxury field. So I directly tried to be a watchmaker at François Paul Journe. And so at 19, I start to work with the team there, and I worked for 7 years, doing first the simple watch, chronomètre souverain, and at the end I was managing the chronomètre à résonance. That was like for a young watchmaker, like a mystical piece, how it works. It was so interesting. I really want to know how it's work, how the business, how the watch work. And so after that, I worked for several brands. I went a bit of a small moment with Laurent Ferrier. And after, I work also for a subcontractor company. Over there, we were always building watch like tourbillon 2-axe or 3-axe, minute repeater, and the company called MHC basically construct and build really high and complex mechanical project for different kind of brands. So we work for Jacob & Co. or Girard-Perregaux, or really a lot of different brands. And so at this time, I really want to create my own brand. So it was really a project that was since the beginning. I really want to create my watch, and it take a lot of time between having a dream, finding a team, find a project, build a brand, and all this journey basically take me 21 years. So today Pragma is here, and we are happy to share it with the public.
Wow, a phenomenal background. That's incredible. So you've kind of gone with the more, I don't know what to put it, but the more sort of industrial style of Rolex to the very technical of François Paul Journe. So talking about the resonance, and you did the resonance piece, of course. What was the most complex part of the assembly? Isn't one of the balances sort of position on a ratchet system, so you have to move it closer to the point where it hits resonance? Is that a part of the assembly, or just, I don't know, it's just a fascinating piece to me. Tell us just very briefly, what was the most interesting technical aspect of assembling that watch?
Yes, of course. So basically, resonance, the two, it's two watch in one. So it's quite simple because you focus on the first watch, you make let's say the left watch, you do it the most precise. Yeah, you focus after on the right watch, and you do the same. Yeah, at the end, it's so to make the watch resonate each other, it's really to have the closest and sharp setting at réglage, we say in French. So we have to do the settings really precise and have a delta of 5 seconds maximum between the left balance and the right balance. And when you get into these really close windows of fine setting the frequency at a time, you can see, you put it on the tool that we call the Vichy to see how the watch do the tic tac. You can see visually that both balance start to resonate together and to align together, and so the sound that the watch does basically the tic tac finally go really together in, like you can see the frequency on the Vichy, and really both frequency align, and it's just one. So it's really magical feeling because you understand the science, the phenomenon of it, but to see the reaction working together, it's like a bit of magic. So it's you feel really happy when you get to the resonance point, and it's like, you have done your work perfectly. So it's or you feel good.
Oh, wonderful. I've always been curious, how long does it take to kind of get the positioning to where they achieve that resonance? Is that a thing where you got to move it a little bit and kind of position it and then wait an hour or 2 hours, or is it pretty much instantaneous? Are you using the machine to actually see the frequency? I mean, how does that work?
Basically, if you first have done your job good, it's take between let's say 30 seconds to 2 or 3 minutes. So it's
Okay, it's pretty
quite
quick.
fast, yeah. But
Okay.
yeah, you have to get first. It's 1 week of work to achieve this fine tuning. But when it's done perfectly to the right or the left side, it's go quickly at the end.
What do you think, as a watchmaker in your own company, what was the biggest thing that you've learned from working with FP Journe, let's say, that you take into your brand now?
For me, but that's a good question because, as I said before, all about my journey in watchmaking, I think I have taken some really important stuff on all the brand. As I don't know, Rolex, for example, can be the organization, the methodology, to be as precise as possible. First of all, for me, it's this capacity of creating a unique design. First thing that people see watching a François Paul Journe is the design. It hits you directly. You know, at 10 meters, you can see somebody wearing a Journe. You know it's a Journe. So
Hmm.
that was for me the kind of feeling I want to bring also into my watch with the case design, and we work a lot with Kai on that. And after, of course, it's also the coherence of the product between the dial and the back, because sometimes you have great design in front and after the movement it's a bit left over, or so let's do that because we do that simple. But I want that the product is consistency from up to down to the front to behind, and I want to have this global aspect into the product that for me is high watchmaking. Is this luxury feeling. You can feel it when you have the piece in your hand and play with it.
Okay, your design starts to make a lot more sense to me with the Rolex sort of background, because you kind of apply a watch that you want to wear every day. You're not afraid to wear it every day. You don't put it in a drawer waiting for a wedding. You wear your watch every day, but there's technical differences about it. There's something interesting and intricate about the design, and then it obviously follows through with the movement. So it starts to make sense to me. Now, what about Laurent Ferrier? What did you learn there mostly?
Laurent Ferrier, we push a bit more as a watchmaker there to do a lot of finishing. That was really interesting to do that. I love to work with the tourbillon, with the two spiral. I think we say in English too. That was phenomenal to see how the precision of the watch, but also the micro rotor with the natural escapements. I'm a bit a geek on my side, but first watchmaking and was always about doing a precise movement. It's not about doing a good decoration or great design, but historically watchmaking is about how I can do the most precise watch to put my ship and go to another country with the navigation. That really the background of the watchmaking is precision. So yeah, it's a bit as a geek to see that how we can be precise with the watchmaking side. It's really important. And after, of course, it's all about the finishing and on that. But also, for me, Laurent Ferrier was also a lot about this consistency on the design. Monsieur Ferrier has this really nice touch about how we build his dial, how we do his hands. Everything look also fluid and coherent in the style. So we love that.
Interesting. So, talking about being a geek for those kind of things. So was that why it's important for you for your movements to be certified as automatic chronometers?
Yeah, let's say when you start a new brand and say I want to put some standard that matter for us, it's also showing to the people that we try to do the best and we can be we can be trustworthy, let's say. And not only doing that, it was also let's make an automatic let's say, simple watch. I don't like the term simple because watchmaking is nothing about simple. But I want to do this first watch that is the common watch that people wear on a daily basis. It's hour, minute, second, date, and automatic. And I think it was quite an exercise to try to bring a design and a project of like Pragma, using this kind of simple watch like a statement. We do that. That's Pragma. It's all the value we put into it, and I want that this first piece is a daily watch for the connoisseur.
Interesting. Okay, that all makes total sense. Now, you mentioned as well that you worked for a time for MHC, yeah? So
Yep.
it's a company I don't know too much about, but wasn't Dominique Renault there from like 2020 to 2024?
Yeah, at the end of the company, because sadly the company stopped just at the beginning of COVID. Dominique Renault joined the team to push also the boundaries about the chronometry. It's like a genius that invent escapements and new way to think. That's why you like to meet this kind of people pushing a bit the boundaries and make us think about how we think watchmaking. So yeah, we cross we work together, but not that much because COVID makes sadly a stop of MHC, and after the story continues.
Okay, so for those of you paying attention for the last few podcasts, of course, Renault Tixier is the brand formed by Dominique Renault, who of course was known for APRP, Audemars Piguet Renault Papy, which was the famous complications division that made all those great movements for so many people and was acquired by Audemars Piguet. So Dominique Renault is involved in the company that Chris has been talking about. And they were doing extraordinary work and ultra high-end complications for a number of brands today on the market. So incredible talent. And then I think his partner was Pierre Favre, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Pierre Favre, yeah, that's sadly, he died of
away,
COVID. Yeah, sadly. It
Oh.
was one for me, if I can give him an homage, because it was one of the people I work with the greatest heart. It was really really a great, let's say, human being, really an example for a lot of people. And it was a great man. Make me sad always.
Well, lovely to hear such praise for the gentleman. I never got to meet Pierre. I really don't know too much about his history or anything, but I know he's spoken of extremely highly. So it's a wonderful privilege that you were able to work with him. And it's lovely to hear about that. Thank you very much for that. All right, so let's talk about your watch now. So the approach to watchmaking is a little different. And what I really love is if anybody's on the Pragma Watches website, which I hope you are, what is quite unique is there's a whole list of the suppliers there. There's everybody that you guys work with. There's a complete list. So, but just to kind of summarize what you do, and this is part of the transparency, but let's talk about the people you are working with, the main partners. So your case, which basically I loved as soon as I saw it. And when I saw your booth in Geneva, I never heard of your brand. I have no idea who you are. I have no idea who the watches are. And the last thing I need is to get excited about another watch. Trust me. But there was something about it. It stopped me in my tracks. I was actually going to that section to go check out another brand. Somebody had told me to go over and take a look at Breva, who was right next to you. And I liked what they were doing. But then I spent a lot more time with you, didn't I? So I stopped. I'm always curious. And I always want to see what's going on. I'm like, okay, let's just take a look here. And it's amazing when you actually stop and talk to the people involved with the watches, you can find it to be quite surprising sometimes what you might learn and how you might feel about a product. And that's how I felt. So first of all, the cases are made in partnership with Voutilainen, correct?
Yeah, so we work with Voutilainen and Catin. That's so basically it's a company owned by the group of Voutilainen, or basically everybody can go there and apply to do watch cases with them. It's an open company. It's not only reserved for the case of Voutilainen himself. And yeah, well, the idea it was, as I said, I worked now for a long time in the industry, and when you are inside the industry, you see that people, it's like bad secret, because at the end everybody's knowing, you work with him, or yes, I do that with them, and and people always take all the credit for them. But now, today, with all the information we can get that easily, I say I think it's a bad idea to believe, let's say, to people, we do everything by ourselves, we are a young brand. And so I'm so proud to say I'm working with them because they do a great job. I'm working with other company because they also do a great job. And I want to, it's when you are a bit like a geek into the watch, you want to say where it's coming from. And I think young collector are also interesting now to understand where do you do this case, or so that's why it was the first point. So when we start Pragma, say, okay, we will work with this company and this company, so let's make it open, let's be transparent in our demarche, and after building the brand, everything follow. So that's why we also push after for the rest. Like, well, if we are a fully transparent brand, it's not a conviction, but we have to do 100% Swiss made, because it's also nice to do so. So, and again, after we say we're using this kind of material, or this kind of steel, or this kind of gold, but why not also, if we can, using sustainable material, if we can achieve the same quality? So it was a bit the thinking when we create Pragma.
First of all, I really want to commend you on that transparency, because obviously you haven't been in the industry for quite a long time. As you say, there aren't that many secrets. People who don't know that much may be taken by people initially, but ultimately they'll find out. And whenever I meet a brand, I always ask them the questions of who their partners are. And one, it tells me a lot about their integrity. Are they going to be honest? Are they not going to be honest? Are they proud of who they work with? And if you're working with the best partners, you should be proud of it, because you are privileged to work with the best people in the industry. It doesn't make your idea and your vision any less creative or any less brilliant. What it means is it now enables you to execute the project to the best of your possible ability, because you're bringing in absolute specialists. And I think that's absolutely commendable. And that's why I started working with a company like Chapek, for example. When I first met with Chapek and they were first starting out, I asked them who made the movement. And for me, it was simple. If they told me, it's our own movement, I would have walked away in a second, because I'd have felt they're probably lying. But they told me exactly who they were working with, who was making the dials, who everything. And just like you, they were very proud of that. And just like you, it was actually Chronod. So let's talk about Chronod and working with Jean-Francois Maujean. So your movement is actually a pretty straightforward automatic, at least visually from the back. It's a beautifully finished movement, very nice. But your idea here seems to be making a great watch that has a unique visual appeal that is not in any way taking away from the idea of having a fabulous everyday daily wear watch. And that's kind of how it comes across to me. So my first question is, working with Maujean for this movement, is this a new caliber he created, this automatic, or did he have to modify it to get enough power to drive your actual discs? And I guess I'm getting ahead of myself here, because we should probably talk about the unique complications first on your dial. So let's do that. Let's jump ship a bit. Okay, so your watch basically is hours and minutes, but you have two unique dials at 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock. The 12 o'clock dial has the usual date wheel going around 1 through 31, but the difference is the opening is what jumps. So the opening kind of jumps every day, showing you a little piece of the window. And then your seconds, and if you want to jump in and explain, that's fine, but the seconds disc is always turning. So there is no second hand. Instead, there's a disc that turns, revealing the print that is underneath it. And what's really cool from a design standpoint, Everybody, you're just gonna have to trust me when you look at it. It's mesmerizing. Is it goes one dot, one dot, one dot, and then two dots every 5 seconds. And bear in mind, this is moving quite quickly. And when you see it in motion, the animation is absolutely extraordinarily cool. It really is. But it's not distracting. It's just cool as can be. So tell us about how you came up with that design idea. Where, what's the reasoning behind that design idea? And then the next part of the question is it more challenging to drive turning a whole disc instead of turning a second's hand?
Yes, with pleasure. So when we start designing the dial, the first inspiration was this perpetual calendar with small counters that give you one way the second, other way the date with the hand. But doing that, we say missing something, because we nothing has, like I always say, nothing is invented for almost 200 years. We just find ways to showcase the indication our own way. And as we really want to push the design of the brand and having this unique way, with Kai, my associate, we find this idea to using counters. Basically, that's allowed us to think first, give the possibility to, I say, the secondary information. For me, it's everything first indication is hour and minutes. So I want that it's the most visible and easy to read on the dial, and all the secondary information I want find a subtle way to hide it into the dial, but also that's bring a bit joy when you look at it. Can be the second, of course, because it's always turning, but also the date, because as you well explained it, the guichet, so the small opening, is always in another position during the month. So bring you also some different kind of aesthetic of the watch and symmetry, a bit moving around during the months or the minutes with the second. And so yes, it was a bit challenging, because to achieve the best precision of the movement, we have to change a bit, testing with different kind of material, and that's why we use aluminum disc, because it's the more light possible, and achieve to have this original way to indicate the hour and the minutes, and also the second and the date.
You also have a very original aesthetic that I see. It's very clean looking. And as anyone from design, which I'm not, of course, but I appreciate design, from the design world would tell you, the hardest way to innovate is to be simple. And it's very hard to innovate within that framework. But you seem to have achieved it. You've created this. I mean, there's the long markers at the 2, 3, 4 position, obviously on the other side as well. They kind of have this break in the middle of them, this line in the middle, which creates a very different look. And I think it gives a lovely balance to the shorter markers. And I think it's a very clever design. And also your hands are very original, and they match those markers beautifully. So you've really created something different. And what I love is the cutout on the discs are just beautifully done, and you have these kind of ridges around. So these very subtle designs all add up perfectly. And when I look at the whole watch, it just looks superb. I really love the design. Now, the only question I have for you on the design of the watch is I don't see the brand name anywhere on the dial.
Yep, good observation. So what we said, because I perhaps I need to precise. So Kai, my associate, is a industrial design. So that's why when we build something together, we really focus on all detail. You know, like you said, the hands following the aesthetic of the index, everything. You know, to make this dial, it take like 10 months to achieve the first version to the last one. So it was really a long process on, let's say, simple, not visible even sometimes. Oh, why not? We can do that like this or like that. Is say always, I say, listen, put the detail on one scale. It's like so microscopic, nobody will see that. But we will try to push this small detail, perhaps sometimes too far because it take long of time. But yeah, that's the intention. And so about the logo, so what we said, we want to push forward the design. That's what Pragma is, this aesthetic. We want to make it simple but unique. So put in a logo in the middle of that. First, nobody know Pragma, so we can make a big logo, a small logo, will not give any impact to the product. We want to be pure and focus on the aesthetic, so we remove it and we let the piece speak by itself, and we put only the logo on the movement because we have more space. It's also more complete, the design this way, and to really have this symmetry and unique design on the dial side.
Okay, so the priority is not ego of watchmaking. The priority is watchmaking itself. A little different than some brands. You don't claim to be the master of anything. You just beautifully put the design on there. So that's really a lovely approach to it. Your crown was also a little bit intriguing. It seems like a rather complex crown, multiple components to it. Tell us just about the crown and how the design came of that and the challenge in constructing the crown.
So when we work on the case, we also see this square coming on the side of the case, so the carrure on the side, and we also have always double square, but also double index, and so we also cut the crown in half to have also this consistency on the design. It's well, like I said before, we will want that it's not like, oh, let's put this generic crown on it and go to production. We're starting something from the beginning. We want to make this watch special. We put our passion, intention. So we go all over it, also on the design of the crown. And at the beginning, we say, oh, it must be sharp, but you have also a great feeling when you do the setting or putting some energy on it. So it's quite really also comfortable and follow the aesthetic. Yeah.
Well, the aesthetic's superb. So I'm going to turn to Doug now, my co-host there, because I think your design is going to speak to Doug quite loudly. And I think this is going to be something that I think will really appeal to Doug. So Doug, give us your feedback, your take on what you see from the design watch.
Well, first off, on the case, having those multiple layers and how they just precisely interlock, I think that's incredible, and that just shows, the kind of precision in the case manufacture and the design, that those little indents will fit perfectly in the slots. And so that's what I first saw. And then I realized that you had those discs for the date and the seconds, and that blew me away as well.
It's a cool look, isn't it, Doug?
It is.
So it kind of, I mean, you tend to go with more field watches, but I think the design of the case being very, and you can see where you've got a whole bunch of different backgrounds in your career. The case is very, I don't want to say, I don't know, I want to find the right words here, because the case is not a very fussy case looking at it. It's a very simple looking case at first view. But then, and Doug and everybody listening here, this is what you can't see from the pictures or the videos. The polishing on the case is superb. So the brushing is beautifully done, but then the edges of the case have this incredible high polish, and the contrast just looks amazing. And you can see from some pictures, probably there's almost like this line you can see around the edge delineating from the brush portion to the high polish. And that contrast is actually what first drew me to your watch, Chris. That's what I first saw. And it kind of reminds me, anyone who's worn fine watches will know this, kind of like the Royal Oak has those very fine pencil line sort of polishes on the edges. Parmigiani does it beautifully as well on their bezel and different angles. And those different lines of polishing, that's what creates true haute horlogerie. without having to yell it from the rooftops or shout it out. But that's when you look at a watch and it just gives you, the owner, a true pleasure because you get to see those details. Those are for you to appreciate when you want to. And I think this is so superbly executed. It just really, really, really blew me away. And even your dials, the colors are perfect as well. So your dials, who makes the actual dials?
So here for this dial, we also look a lot of possibility, but we also working with a company of carve called Comblemine. So we really want to have this. I think Pragma is a brand that is focused on the future, but we don't put the craftsmanship or the old capacity or work on the side. We use it, but we try to make our own expression of it. So we work with them because they also achieved today for us this high standard that we want to put into the product. For example, the finishing on the dial, but also the gold index, the polished gold index. That's something that also I have from working at Rolex at the time. So the polish on gold is a bit different than brass. You have this flash effect. Then when you're moving around the wrist, the lights just kick into the index, bring all the piece alive. So that was really always the focus when we try to work with subcontractor to really have this best, let's say, material for achieving the best quality. And also, like the case, basically, it looks simple, but when you look at closely, it's not one dial. We have basically 5 pieces, so 5 different dial to make one dial. So the main dial with the index, but also the dial that is hidden under, while you have all the information, the number of the date or the second indication. And after you have this compteur with this finishing that we call assurage. So it's not like a circle satiné, but it's like more that it's engraved. So you have this wave effect into the counter. That's basically the purpose was that to have this mesmerizing effect, because you see the light playing into this engraving differently, and we want that the people, the collector or the client, that really when they look at the watch all the time, they feel different, or the light hit the dial differently with the color when you are outside or inside. Where if I don't know, we do the test with one of our gray dial. I was wearing a blue shirt, and even the dial get a bit of the blue into the dial. So it's really something that you want to discover always a new aspect of the watch. That's why we put all this intention into it. And but that's what driven us, and that's why we want to wake up every morning to do a watch. So that's the funny part of it, so creating the watch.
I love doing this deep dive into it because it really is a fascinating watch. But I have a question on the sort of counter dials, the ones on top, that sit on top. There's a very tiny rim around it, of the actual gap between that and the main dial. Mm-hmm. How what's the right way of phrasing this? How much tolerance can you handle there? Because I'm assuming for your design, you want to get it as close as possible. Did you explore with different, did you explore with it, play with it, do prototypes and say, no, we can get closer, because the precision has got to be perfection on the construction and everything else. But how many times did you say, no, I want it to be closer?
Yeah, at the beginning it was shorter and closer, and after the engineer that worked with us say, listen guys, I think it's also important to have security, because of course you always have different measurement, and if you add all the measurement on top, at the end the risk is big. So we let's say we find the sweet spot, but it's also allowed us, as we have a different color under, to have this like really slight ring of white color that also let's say show that they separately piece and like also bring this really discrete ring of light to also say here, look at here, because we're trying to focus the attention of the eye. Here we're giving you an indication, and it's the date, and under look at here we also giving you an indication, it's the second. So it's to play with the light and the eyes.
It plays very nicely. And the movement's gorgeous as well. I'm just looking at a picture I took of your movement. It's a really lovely movement. Now, was there a challenge with this movement? Driving those discs, is that more challenging than driving a hand? Does it require a little more power?
It take a bit more, but not that much, because that's why we change a bit the material we use to take something really light. I would say the most challenge was because we want to use this unique titanium to making the watch. I really want to have I like the idea to having that's something I also was inspired by François Paul Journe, using a block metal. Let's say he's using gold, and it's gold, it's gold and it's finish, and that's it. So usually you use brass, and brass also is you do the brass, you do the finishing, you do the coating on top, and after you have to do another operation to reveal the engraving, and after you do as a watchmaker you can do a scratch and you restart the process. And I say let's use a material that is pure and direct, raw, but let's use this raw material and make it as beautiful as possible. So titanium was this challenge to use it. I think for me, it's one of a perfect material for the watchmaking, because it's really light. You can also well polish it. It's amagnetic almost. It's not oxidizing. So it brings a lot of advantage. The biggest complexity is it's hard, so you need to take more time to using it. But at the end, you have this, I think, great feeling on the wrist because it's light, but also have all this, let's say, high horlogerie aspect of it. So it was to work on all this detail that was the longer, I will say, and also working with this platinum segment also on the rotor to increase the weight of the rotor, because it was too light if we only do it in full titanium. So playing with also other noble material as the platinum, I think that's bring also this luxury and high watchmaking effect that we're looking for.
So you're saying the actual movement, apart from the rotor, is constructed out of titanium?
So yeah, all the bridges, structural piece, so we call the plate, the bridges, also all the component that is related of for the date and second mechanism. Also, after the rest, it's like a classic horlogerie. Let's say the wheel are in brass, the axes are in steel. That's something that we need to keep it this way, because it's that we work on that 200 years, and we know that's the best and more durable way to proceed using this material for the friction with the sapphire. So that's important to keep it in place, because it's how it's worked the best. So yeah, it's more the structural piece, but it's also the biggest part of the movement too. So yeah.
And then you're using Atakalpa as well?
For the component?
Yeah, for the hairspring escapement, anything there?
Yeah, that's all the part that is managed with chronode. We want, as we're looking to have the chronometer. We have this balance that is inertie variable, because I think today also when you look into the balance, sometimes even big brand use too much industrial balance. You can see it with also the way they are clipped into the bridge, always using the same fixation. You can see that on a Celita movement, or sometime at a piece that is almost 100K. So we want to have this balance with inertie variable. It's also bring the best precision to the piece. So that was also important for us. Yeah.
Okay, so in English, variable inertia. So can you just describe for people who are not as well versed on the watchmaking side what I can't even say it in English, variable inertia actually means? What actually is that in terms of the functionality?
So I will explain it like I was explained by my teacher at school before. So basically the balance move from one side to another at a frequency as for the Pragma is 4 hertz, and basically it's like the artistic ice skating. So you can see the guy or the lady spinning on the ice, and when they have the hands open, they're slowing down, and when they bring the hands in the center of the body, they accelerate. So we're using the same system. We have this component that is small. In French, we say maslot, so small weight that you can put it a bit more inside or more outside. So allowed you to work into the precision of the watch using that, and allowed you to have the best precision, but also the way to setting it. So yeah,
So
I
it
hope it's
require,
clear.
yeah, pretty much so. So it just requires a lot more skill on the setting up of the watch to get the perfect result, but you have the tools to enable you to get a better performance, basically. Correct?
Exactly.
Okay. All right. So initially, to start off with, so your first collections, you've got some cool pieces there. So the kind of grayish blue dial is lovely, really nice. Then there's a limited edition purple dial, isn't there? Which is the one that seems to have caught people's eyes, and some of the people I've shown the collection to from the few photographs I have on the website. The purple dial has definitely been a winner. So that's a limited edition of 16 pieces, right? And the cases are all titanium for that? Or are they
Not So the case for this series in steel, we working on a full titanium piece also, but yeah, I have always this feeling when you do a full titanium piece that people think, oh, you want to do like sporty watch, and that's why I want to start the collection with steel, because steel today for me it's like when we talk about before, this daily watch usually is steel because you have the best finishing on it. It's also, you can feel it a bit more, and it's also okay for, let's say, dress as for a dress code, a bit more, let's say, dinner, or you can also do sport. It's a bit the perfect daily watch. That's why I really want to use steel for the case, and the titanium for the movement. And we also have a gold piece on the collection. It's also for us a statement to show to the public that Pragma want to go have a full collection. Really want to speak about this high luxury watches and have that into the collection. And we're working on other few pieces, but we take the time to do it. But some piece in titanium, also two-tone, is on the pipeline, and really happy to show that in the future.
cool? Now, do you have other ideas for different watches to come out in the future as well?
Yes, of course, we that's also always the same. We has always to be canalized and say, okay, let's be rational. Now we have that, but no, that's also the fun parts. We have already two pieces that we want to do. I think we will start to work on that already. The idea is not to do a full new watch every year, but also put some time in between to build the collection and to make it correctly. So it will come with the time, yes. But the idea is to have a full collection using the same principle we have here, with this subtle aesthetic, and also work with this case ID in the same way, yeah.
All right, and then we haven't really talked too much about the recycling and the recyclable materials, the reclaimed materials. So I know that's very important to you personally, isn't it?
Yeah, I think for me, but for some of people of my generation too, the idea is not to do, oh, let's make the more greener watch possible. But when we start a project and you meet some people have this really innovative, sustainable material that is definitely at the same level of quality, using process that it's incredible, because in Switzerland, we don't have any resource that can be mineral or steel or oil. We don't have anything of that. We just have good ideas and we like to innovate. So we with some partner called Panater, they find an intelligent way to recycle the steel that is here in Switzerland, and most of the time also coming already from the watchmaking industry. And so they use this really huge solar furnace, basically, that concentrate the sun ray on a really specific point into a oven, and they achieve to go really a high temperature level, allowed them to melt the steel and to redo new steel bars. So for me, say, wow, we don't have steel here. Usually it's come from several country or different place. We can have a source of material here in Switzerland. Let's try to see how we can work with them to achieve the standard we're looking for. So we work with them for this steel that it's basically, we call it the solar steel. So that's the steel we use for doing the case. And we're also using a recycled titanium basically to do the movement. So we see that we can achieve all the goal we want. Yeah, that's why let's challenge us also this way if we can, and to be innovative in our own way.
You know, the best results always come when you challenge yourself somewhat, don't they? Because if you have like a complete freedom, of course you have freedom of design, but when you challenge yourself as well, you force yourself to come up with different solutions to problems, which can create, open up whole new doors. So I really applaud you for that. So in summary, the cases and the dials are made in collaboration with Voutilainen, who of course is one of the greatest suppliers in the world today, to independent watchmakers. So that's fantastic. The movement is created in collaboration with Chronod, which is Jean-Francois Mojon, one of the most talented watchmakers there is. Of course, he's done work with obviously Chapek, which we carry, MB&F, of course,
Yeah.
very famous for that. And he's done a lot of incredible work, one of the most talented watchmakers around. So you've really created an incredible piece there. The execution is perfection in my eyes. It's just beautiful, simple, but something very innovative and real. When I say real, you look at it, when you know the design, you know this is Pragma Watches. It has an identity. And it's very hard to create a fresh identity without looking completely out there, coming from left field, a whole different place. So you've really achieved that nicely. And then the size of the case, I'm going by memory here. I think, is it about 39.5 millimeters, somewhere around there?
So yeah, it's 39 of diameter and 10.5 in the thickness. Here also we try to have for me, I call it the sweet spot, because don't like too big watch, also not too small. It's also fit a lot of different countries, because some country prefer bigger watch, some country prefer smaller watch. And also for me, it was the dream watch we want to build. It was 38, 39. So yeah, we use that diameters. Yes.
It's a nice height, nice thickness as well. Because when you look at it, I think I came away with the impression that if it was a little bit thinner, it would actually take away from the design of the watch, because it has a certain appeal to it as it is, and it has a feel on the wrist. And by keeping the diameter down a little bit, it enables you to play a little bit with the different levels of dimension, which is really nicely done. So the movement's great. Everything's great. Looks superb. Limited edition pieces. I think we have a couple of the purples reserved with you, don't we?
Yes, we have that. Yeah.
Okay.
Happy to work with the team.
Great. So anybody who's interested, I do have a couple of the purple limited editions. Many of them are sold out already, but we were lucky enough to be able to reserve a couple. So reach out directly to me, Jeremy at Osterjewelers.com. Or if you know me, which you probably do, just send me a text and be happy to connect you and make this happen for you. And really, really proud to work with you initially to kind of help you get started, if we like. I see a very bright future with your company. And I'm really, really pleased that our listeners get to kind of hear firsthand what you are doing and put this on their radar, because I think this is going to be a strong company going forward. I have great, great feelings for you, Chris. Well done.
Thank you a lot, merci, and I'm quite happy that the day when we meet at Time to Watch, you stop by to discover our brand, and that's great. Thank you, thank you guys.
Me too. Thank you. Doug, last words. What are your last kind of thoughts on the brand and where it's heading? What's your final impression?
Well, you
not to put you on the spot
which
I never do.
You know the industry better than me, so you can pick out those gems that nobody's seen before and see them before anybody else. So if they've got your vote of confidence, then I'm all in.
All right. Doug's all in. There you go. That's the final word. Doug's all in. That's all we need to hear. All right. Well, Chris, thanks so much for joining us today. Thank you so much for sharing your passion, your knowledge, and this incredible project that you have started. And it is early stages, but I'm telling you, I want one of these on my wrist as soon as possible. That's how I feel about it. All right. Well, everybody, thank you so much for listening. Doug, any final words you might like to add?
Well, rate and review if you get the opportunity. We'd like it.
Everybody would like it. More people will hear it and more people will love it. Yeah. So, Chris, thank you. Carry on with your work. You're doing great stuff. And we look forward to catching up with you on a future episode. And as your company progresses, I'm sure there's going to be a lot more to talk about coming from your direction. Well done. Thank you. Thank you, everybody, for listening to Keeping Time Podcast. We greatly appreciate your support and feedback. Thank you very much. Bye, everybody.
Bye-bye.
Bye.